We have a great origin story filled with hard work and proven ability and a rich history, but we're not living in the past. We're building modern skills for today's economy with the same high standards that built the original school. Here's the big difference between GSE and most schools. Many graduates receive degrees and certifications but struggle on day one at their jobs. This costs companies time and money and can cost graduates opportunities. At GSE, we train differently. Our mission is simple. When you finish here, you are day one ready, not just having watched videos or read chapters. You can walk in on day one and actually perform. That's rare, valuable, and what makes your time here worth it. We believe in excellence, and we do not believe in selling paper. You don't come to GSE to buy a certification. You earn skills, confidence, and competence. The goal isn't to look qualified, it's to be qualified. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leveling up for a better job, or seeking to become more efficient and valuable, GSE is built for you. This school is about real-world outcomes. We don't just teach content, we train capability. Now, let's talk about where you are right now. Starting something new is exciting but can feel intimidating. New systems, new expectations, new skills. If you've been disappointed by education before, you might wonder, is this going to be different? Yes. This isn't just information, it's transformation through skill. You're about to build things, learn how systems work, and develop the competence that makes employers take you seriously. And makes you take yourself seriously. You didn't choose a place that's playing games. You chose a place built on excellence, legacy, and the future. So again, welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence. We're honored you're here. Take your time, learn the system, ask questions, do the work, and most importantly, believe again. With the right training, the right standard, and the right support, you're going to look back and realize this was the moment. You stopped hoping for change and started building it. Welcome to GSE, where excellence begins. Welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence, or GSE. If this is your first time here, I want to say two things right away. First, you're in the right place. Second, you're not just joining a class, you're joining a legacy. GSE has been delivering high-quality education for over 20 years, and our story didn't start in a classroom. It started in the real world, where deadlines are real, standards are high, and results are what matter. Our origins began as Nomega Film and Audio, rooted in the audio and video space, working in film production, commercial work, audio engineering, and scoring. We filmed TV commercials and engineered projects tied to major industry workflows, producing, recording, editing, mixing, and delivering professional results. This wasn't theory, it was work where excellence is essential. That's the DNA of GSE. From early on, we weren't just producing, we were teaching. We taught Virginia Commonwealth University students and partnered with the Entertainment Career Connections Institute to teach their Richmond students. Our school originally grew in Richmond, Virginia, focusing on audio and video engineering, training students to not just know about production, but to actually do it. In 2025, we officially transitioned to the Griffin School of Excellence, expanding our programs to fit the future. AI for business, food truck entrepreneurship, coding and development in Python, and continued strength in audio-video engineering. We have a great origin story filled with hard work and proven ability and a rich history, but we're not living in the past. We're building modern skills for today's economy with the same high standards that built the original school. Here's the big difference between GSE and most schools. Many graduates receive degrees and certifications but struggle on day one at their jobs. This costs companies time and money and can cost graduates opportunities. At GSE, we train differently. Our mission is simple. When you finish here, you are day one ready, not just having watched videos or read chapters. You can walk in on day one and actually perform. That's rare, valuable, and what makes your time here worth it. We believe in excellence, and we do not believe in selling paper. You don't come to GSE to buy a certification. You earn skills, confidence, and competence. The goal isn't to look qualified, it's to be qualified. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leveling up for a better job, or seeking to become more efficient and valuable, GSE is built for you. This school is about real-world outcomes. We don't just teach content, we train capability. Now, let's talk about where you are right now. Starting something new is exciting but can feel intimidating. New systems, new expectations, new skills. If you've been disappointed by education before, you might wonder, is this going to be different? Yes. This isn't just information, it's transformation through skill. You're about to build things, learn how systems work, and develop the competence that makes employers take you seriously and makes you take yourself seriously. You didn't choose a place that's playing games. You chose a place built on excellence, legacy, and the future. So again, welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence. We're honored you're here. Take your time, learn the system, ask questions, do the work, and most importantly, believe again. With the right training, the right standard, and the right support, you're going to look back and realize this was the moment. You stopped hoping for change and started building it. Welcome to GSE, where excellence begins. Welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence, or GSE. If this is your first time here, I want to say two things right away. First, you're in the right place. Second, you're not just joining a class, you're joining a legacy. GSE has been delivering high-quality education for over 20 years, and our story didn't start in a classroom. It started in the real world, where deadlines are real, standards are high, and results are what matter. Our origins began as Nomega Film and Audio, rooted in the audio and video space, working in film production, commercial work, audio engineering, and scoring. We filmed TV commercials and engineered projects tied to major industry workflows, producing, recording, editing, mixing, and delivering professional results. This wasn't theory, it was work where excellence is essential. That's the DNA of GSE. From early on, we weren't just producing, we were teaching. We taught Virginia Commonwealth University students and partnered with the Entertainment Career Connections Institute to teach their Richmond students. Our school originally grew in Richmond, Virginia, focusing on audio and video engineering, training students to not just know about production, but to actually do it. In 2025, we officially transitioned to the Griffin School of Excellence, expanding our programs to fit the future. AI for business, food truck entrepreneurship, coding and development in Python, and continued strength in audio-video engineering. We have a great origin story filled with hard work and proven ability and a rich history, but we're building modern skills for the same high standards that built the original school. Here's the big difference between GSE and most schools. Many graduates receive degrees and certifications but struggle on day one at their jobs. This costs companies time and money and can cost graduates opportunities. At GSE, we train differently. Our mission is simple. When you finish here, you are day one ready, not just having watched videos or read chapters. You can walk in on day one and actually perform. That's rare, valuable, and what makes your time here worth it. We believe in excellence, and we do not believe in selling paper. You don't come to GSE to buy a certification. You earn skills, confidence, and competence. The goal isn't to look qualified, it's to be qualified. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leveling up for a better job, or seeking to become more efficient and valuable, GSE. This school is about real-world outcomes. We don't just teach content, we train capability. Now, let's talk about where you are right now. Starting something new is exciting but can feel intimidating. New systems, new expectations, new skills. If you've been disappointed by education before, you might wonder, is this going to be different? Yes. This isn't just information, it's transformation through skill. You're about to build things, learn how systems work.
Alrighty, good afternoon, good afternoon. So glad that you are here. You might notice that this looks a little bit different. I normally just use the webcam from my laptop, but in this office that I'm in now, because of the overhead bright lights, it makes these kind of glares and streaks and not so good. So I'm using my phone, which the camera on that phone looks much better in this lighting than the webcam. So hopefully you can still see me just fine. Hey, maybe you'll like it better. Let me back it up. Maybe I can get more in there. All right. So maybe you like this better. It actually may look a little bit better as well. All right. So go ahead and drop your motivations in to read. Hopefully you have done your podcast, recorded them, and put the YouTube link in the chat. So make sure you upload your podcast to YouTube and drop your YouTube link in the group, the class chat room. So for our homework, always take your links and drop them in the group chat. So that is the place for your homework, the group chat, just like earlier in November. So All righty. So go ahead and drop your motivations. Hopefully everybody has a motivation. Oh my goodness. I mean, so many times. All right. We're going to jump into it. We got a big day today, y'all. We have a really, really big day. We're going to go over a lot of stuff. And we've been kind of mixing and mastering. So we're going to go over some of that stuff. But we're also going to go over some more fundamental type stuff. Not fundamental, some fundamentals, but also some more detailed stuff as well. So we got a jam-packed class today. Okay. But if you have your motivations, go ahead and put your motivations in the chat. And we have been having a few issues with the stream today. Hopefully that's not a problem for this class, but if it is, we'll figure it out. Okay. All right. Okay. So, Smart 1483, Stephanie says, never respond to an angry person with a fiery comeback, even if he deserves it. Don't allow his anger to become your anger. Bodie Sanders. Smart 1483. Stephanie, I can't help but 100% agree with you. You know, the Bible says soft response will turn away wrath. A soft voice turns away wrath, right? And what that means is just because somebody else is aggressive, just because somebody else is angry and they're fiery, you don't have to respond with fire. Now, you guys knew I grew up in the hood, and fire and brimstone was the attitude, right? So you learn to fight fire with fire. And it didn't help when I was on construction sites and became friends with managers who always fought fire with fire. So I had to unlearn that habit. But guess what? Anything that you can learn, you can relearn. Anything that you can learn that's not good, you can unlearn. So you don't always have to fight fire with fire. You can always use a soft voice to kind of turn away wrath, right? And my grandmother would say, you win more flies with honey than you do with what? Do y'all know the end of that? Go ahead and type in the end of that if you know it. You win more flies with honey than you do with what? That's right. Than you do with vinegar. Once you've offended somebody, and I've learned this with evangelizing, once you've offended somebody, you can't win them. It's almost impossible to win them. Once you've upset somebody or offended somebody, you can't win them. So if the goal is to win an argument, then hey, don't matter if you upset them, don't matter if they hate you, don't matter if they ever talk to you again. But if your goal is to win a soul or win a person, then you can't upset them. Their thoughts and their mind matters. So, you know, and I teach this when my wife and I teach marriage conferences. You can win the battle or you can win the war, right? Winning the war is happy family, long-lasting marriage, right? Till death do you part. Or you can win the battle. Go nuclear and try to destroy that person in this moment. And then you win the battle with good possibility you lose the war. So learning how to fight in marriage, because all marriages need to fight. Actually, there's studies that show that marriages that don't fight end in divorce. People just bottle stuff up and then they just leave. So you need to fight. It's healthy. You just got to fight healthy, if that makes sense. You know, in a boxing ring, there's rules. You can't Mike Tyson bite somebody's ear. But there's rules. And then after the fight, what happened? The boxers come together, they shake hands, good fight, right? So you need to be able to disagree. And when I say fight, I don't mean physically fight, I mean disagree. You need to be able to disagree, but in a healthy way that leads to understanding and not just hatred. So anyway, great answer. A great motivation this morning. Smart 1483. Porsche says, but I am the Lord, my lovely wife, but I am the Lord, and I can look into a person's heart. I can test a person's mind, so I can decide which one each one deserves. I can give each one the right payment for what he deserves. All right, Jeremiah 17:10. Just had her 17:10. I was like, I don't know who her is, but Jeremiah 17:10. I like it. Dr. Horn says, invest in myself. That is huge. So that is huge. What Porsche's motivation was is huge. Scripture is always powerful. The Lord is the only one that can judge. We ought to judge situations, but God can actually judge the soul. We can say this situation is good or bad, but only God can say this person is good or bad based on not just the actions, but also their thoughts. My goodness, he knows our thoughts and our heart. So beautiful one. And invest in yourself. You know that a lot of you have heard me say this before. That I don't know where I got it from, a book, speaker, whatever, but he says, take 10% of your earnings and invest it in yourself. Take 10% of your earnings and invest it in yourself. I'm like, man, that's a lot of money to invest in yourself, right? We take 10% and we pay tithes with it, right? And we honor God. But taking another 10% and investing in myself. But you gotta be teachable. Even, you know what being teachable means? That I listen to things I don't understand. Because whoever's teaching me knows more than me. That's why they're teaching me, which means their point of views are different than mine. Their ideas and their thought processes are different than mine. If ours were the same, they would need to teach me. I'd already know, right? So being teachable means I can listen and follow specific things that I don't agree with and I don't understand. So it seemed like a lot, but it paid off. I ended up gaining a lot of knowledge. I ended up going a lot further, right? So investing in yourself, take 10% of your income, pay your tithes. Always honor God, but take 10% and invest in yourself. Grow your mind. I say this to Dr. Horn's motivational point. I always say this, and I love saying this. I say, who decides who you marry? The person goes, I do. Who decides where you work? I do. Who decides how you raise your kids? I do. Who decides where you go on vacation? I do. Who decides what kind of car you can buy? I do. Who decides where you work? I do. Who decides how much money you make? I do. So if you're making all those decisions, you probably want to make sure you are as smart as possible. You want to make sure you are as educated as possible. You are as kind and humble as possible. You are as God-fearing. You are the best version of you because you are making all the decisions of your life. So make sure you got it together. So invest in you. I like it. Great job, Dr. Horn. Amberly says, negativity keeps you blind to opportunities. Negative people will always remain in the prison of their self-imposed limits. Let me throw that chat. I like that. Negativity keeps you blind to opportunities. Negative people. I'm going to throw that on the screen. So let's see if I can. Can I throw this on the screen? Okay. We're going to try to put this on the screen. You guys' comments. Because I like them. You guys have some great stuff. Okay. There we go. So I like it. Negativity keeps you blind to opportunities. Negative people will always remain in the prison of their self-imposed limits. Absolutely. I tell you, the old folks would say, birds of a feather. Finish that sentence for me. Finish that sentence, family. Birds of a feather do what? AV engineers. November, it'll be here before you know it. You'll be graduating and you'll be engineers. You've come a long way. You've still got a long way to go, but you've come a long way. So negativity keeps you blind to opportunities. Negative people will always remain in the prison of their self-imposed limits. Birds of a feather, what? Flock together. That's right. Birds of a feather flock together. There's not, guys, I haven't seen it where a positive person can hang around negative people and not be affected. I've never seen it. Because there's a difference between friends and evangelism. If I'm evangelizing to people, I can go into these negative spaces and I can preach Jesus and I can do all of this stuff. But if we're just hanging out, I'm not there with a purpose or a mission. I'm just hanging out, absorbing my surroundings. It's almost impossible, guys, if not impossible, to be around negativity and not let some of it soak into you. You know, that's why you see sometimes these cops or military personnel that have seen some bad stuff have to go get counseling. It's hard to be around that negativity and not have it soak into you. So if you're voluntarily hanging around negative friends, negative family members, especially with these self-imposed limits on their heights and how far they can go, that's probably affecting you more than you know. You want to be around people that are successful. I'm actually working on a book called Circle of Power. I've been working on it, Louise, for about 15, 20 years. So pray for me. I think I'm about 80, 90% done now. But yeah, so hopefully this year, I have about 6 books that I've been working on for about 20 years. Hopefully they all come out this year. I got some really handsome folks, nice folks helping me out. A really great guy that has written plenty of books. He's supposed to be helping me out. So hopefully we can get these books out there this year. All right. Margaret says, not everything needs to be unwrapped. Oversharing ruins value. Yep. Not everything needs to be unwrapped. Oversharing ruins value. Before we go to bed, me and my wife kind of as time together, because she's exhausted with the kids. I'm normally exhausted from working all day. A lot of times I'm working 16 to 18 hour days. And I think I went to bed at 2 this morning and the alarm was going off at 4:30 a.m. So classes start at 7:45, right? So, but one thing that we like to do, we like to just kind of watch a show. And the lady was like, hey, you got to be real with your girlfriend. You know, she needs to know the real you. So after dating and the relationship was going good, he just started unloading all of his faults. And she was like, oh my goodness, you know, and the lady, his friend told him, don't unload it all at once, right? Don't overshare, right? So yeah, you know, you see church hurt, and sometimes church hurt is because someone overshared something with not their pastor or one of the ministers, but with just some random person, and that person didn't hold their confidence well. So yeah, you don't want to overshare. You don't want to not be vulnerable. You want to find mentors. You always cry up. I was taught to cry up. You never cry down. You always cry up. So I wouldn't cry down to other people or people that need encouragement like I do, or maybe more encouragement. If I have an issue, I'm going to cry up. I'm going to cry up to my pastor. I'm going to cry up to my elders. If I'm going to cry or complain or have gripes about something, I'm going to cry up. That way I can get that wisdom coming down. I'm not going to cry down and get their ignorance coming up to me, right? All right. All right. I love it. All right. Great stuff. Great motivations. I pray we have your minds are open, that you're able to absorb all the material today. Let's go ahead and hop in. So, man, we have been, for one, I just want to say kudos. You guys have been doing an incredible job, a wonderful, amazing, beautiful, lovely job at your podcast and your vlogs. Make sure that you're doing, when I say podcast, I actually mean vlog. So a vlog is what we're doing right now. A vlog is video log. It's a play of the word blog, which is text-based, web-based logs or, you know, journals. All right. Podcast is audio only. But when I say podcast, what I want from you is something that looks like this, where it's your computer screen and, you know, your face and your computer screen, and you record it. And you're explaining whatever the thing is for the week. So whatever you learned today after class, I want you to make a vlog. So even when I say podcast, what I mean is a vlog, so a video, and you're teaching someone how to do it, right? Just like you're able to see my screen, see me, and I'm teaching you how to do something. Every week, you should be producing some type of vlog where someone can see your screen. You imagine you're a YouTuber. If this was my AI class, I would say you're an AI agent. That's a YouTuber. But imagine you're a YouTuber, right? You're going to create a how-to. So every week you should be creating a how-to video. This is how to mix a song. This is how to master a song. This is how to open Pro Tools. This is how to edit. This is how to ABCDEFG, right? This is how to. And you're teaching your audience how to. You're going to upload that to YouTube to teach your audience. Doesn't matter if you don't have a single subscriber. Pretend you got 1 million to teach your audience. You're going to share that YouTube link in the group chat. So you don't have to email me. You don't have to text me the link. Share the link in the group chat. That way all of the links are together. You can check out other people's, it's group learning. You can check out other people's videos. Other people can check out your videos. So take your YouTube link and post it in the AV discussion group, the AV chat. And you can watch other people's, they can watch yours, and I can see them all, right? So that I can grade them. Okay, perfect. Also, May 30th and June 27th, we will be traveling. We will be in Kyle, Texas. It is a 90-minute drive. So on the 23rd, we'll be there for the normal class period, 12 to 3. On the 27th, Stephanie, double check my dates for me. Make sure these dates are correct. All the details are posted in the discussion group in the digital classroom, in the discussion chat, in the group chat. So make sure you check out the group chat. It has the actual details, it has the address, and I think all of the information. But on those 2 dates, we'll be traveling to Kyle to be on an actual film set. The first one will just be there for 12 to 3 for the 3 hours, watching table reads and helping film table reads and all of that wonderful stuff. Great stuff you can put on your resume that you were on a movie set and that you actually participated in, like BTS for a movie, an actual movie that is being released on the, so that's May 23rd. I'm using my phone as a camera, so I can't even check my phone. Actually, let me pull up I have an app called Todoist that I just dump all of my things in. It is such a wonderful app. So I have it over here. May 27th and June 30th. Thank you, Stephanie. Stephanie is incredible. Thank you so much. So May 27th, 12 to 3, we'll be at that date doing BTS and working with the film crew. And on June 30th, they're actually shooting the movie. It's the first day of shooting. Okay. I got 2 different dates here. I got May 30th and June 27th, and I got May 27th and June 30th. So I don't know which one of those are correct. Let me double check here because I'm getting conflicting information here, and I don't want to give you bad details. But they're both Saturdays. So whatever those Saturdays are, let me see here. May 30th. Okay, so May 30th and June 27th. So if that's not what's in the, Stephanie, if those aren't the dates that are in the AV, let's change them. Let's make sure that it's the correct dates in the group chat. And you don't know how to get in the group chat, just go to the website, go to student access and log in a group and AV. Okay. If you need to request access, you can request access and I'll approve it. Okay. So it's May 30th and June 27th. So May 30th and June 27th. I'm making some notes here as well. I have it in my phone, but my phone is the camera right now. Okay, so May 30th and June 27th. May 30th, 12 to 3. We will be there assisting behind the scenes and doing all of that great stuff. So it'll be 12 to 3. June 27th, it's all day. So if you're in other classes, you're excused from those classes. Those classes will still be going on, but you'll be excused from those classes. You'll have to go back and watch the videos and but you'll be excused from you won't have an absence. You'll be marked present for that class on June 27th because we'll get there early that morning and we'll be there all day. Now, if you can't stay all day, totally understandable, but we're going to be there probably from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So we're going to be all day. They're going to feed us. They're going to everything else. And we're going to actually assist in filming an actual movie that's going to be on TV and in theaters and all of this good stuff. So it's going to be awesome. So mark the calendar. So that's May 30th. Did we fix the dates? What are the dates? Y'all are killing me. All right. May 30th, 12 to 3. And June 27th, all day from 5 to 5 or 6 to 6. Okay. All right. So yes, it's exciting. I see someone says, wow, Emily says, wow, that's so awesome. I can't wait. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. All right. Okay. All right. Now let's hop in. If we are ready to hop in to today's lesson, type I'm ready. I'm ready. Get ready for your blessing. Get ready. That's such an old song. And I was jamming to that in the shower the other day, y'all. I don't know if you're like me and you jam in the shower, but I was jamming out in the shower. And I normally don't listen to old songs, but I don't know. You ever just wake up with an old song and I'm just jamming? I mean, I am full out jamming in the shower. And you know what? It was wonderful. I don't know who sings that song. Get ready for your miracle. Miracle. All right. So mixing and mastering. And I'm going to, I think that's as big as I can make it right there. But that's fine. All right. So I say beginner asks what plugin and engineer asks what problem. Where in the signal path and why. So plugins are like a hammer and a drill and so forth. You want to be able to use it when you can use it. I have a question. What if we can't show up at 6 a.m. but a little later that day? Yeah, that's totally fine. If you can't be there at 6, you get there at 8 or get there at 9:30. That's totally fine. No, still be marked present. Still be marked present for all of your classes. Not a problem at all. If you can't make it at 6 and you got to come a little bit later in the morning, totally fine. No one's all good. All good. Okay. All right. So plugins are like a scalpel to a surgeon, a tool set to carpenter. You want to know the right thing for the right job. And often it comes with just playing around. You know how many sounds are in Expands? There's 1 million sounds in Expands. How many sounds are in Expands? Oh my goodness. Remember when we were going through sounds? It was just look, let's go. Where did we go? Bumblebee. All right, let's see. What sounds? Oh, I got to put my earbuds in. So I'm going to put my earbuds in because I need my earbuds for this class. Oh, by the way, we're going to be panning left and right. Make sure you have headphones on. You absolutely need to have headphones on. You should always have headphones on, but today you need to have headphones on. So grab your headphones. If you don't already have them in, hopefully you do. And let me grab my headphones, which I normally always have in, but let me put them on right now. Righty. Grab my headphones. You guys can't see my office. It is a disaster area. My kids came in here and played in my office, and I thought it would be cute to let them come and hang out. And let me just tell you, not cute. They came and destroyed my office, y'all. I had to figure out how to put Humpty Dumpty back together again, so not cute at all. Okay. All right, here we go. All righty. Test 1, 2. Test. All righty. There we go. I have another mic in here that we use for recording vocals and singing and all of that good stuff. So had to turn it off. I'm using a Focusrite. So if you know anything about Focusrites gives you they come with like their own little master control, and it's remarkably helpful for mixing and that kind of stuff, and for direct monitoring. All right, there we go. So I had to get the correct one on here. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So that I'm hearing the correct mic myself. All right, and I am. So let's go in here and this is one of the podcasts we made. Let's see. Hello. Today, I would love to talk with you about. All right, and I'm going to open up the mix screen. And they put it down here on another screen, but here we go. And here's some Hello. Music. Today, I would love to talk with you about bumblebees. Let's discuss the flight of the bumblebee. Bumblebees are... All right, and then you just have that. And then I think there's one... Didn't we make our own music on one of these? This is one of the recordings we did. Let's see. I'm gonna see if we can pull up the one where, and I'm just making a point about there being so many different. All right, here we go. There being so many different plugins and so many different sounds that the best way to know what each thing does is just to play with it. Alrighty. So I'm just gonna, this is just test 2. I don't know what this test vocal is. I'm just gonna mute it. I'm just gonna come and just make a instrument channel here. I don't know if y'all can hear my children playing. And just for giggles, we're going to put an expands on here. We'll get back to this later. I'm just kind of making a point here. And when I come up here, that's one sound, but that's one sound out of a billion. I mean, you could just stop anywhere. Dearly beloved, thank you for coming this evening as we lay to rest. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So, and there's just infinite sounds here. Synth basses. The devil sync is. Let's get unsunk with him. All right, broken computers. They sound broken. Multi-timbral stuff. All right, so, and how would you know this stuff even existed unless you go through and play with it? Plugins are the same way. Luckily, you don't have a lot of plugins. We're just working with the stock plugins with Pro Tools. But you can always buy additional plugins like I have. And I don't have them loaded because I don't want to work with anything that you don't have on your system. Some of you have loaded all of the stuff that came with your Pro Tools, so you actually have more stuff than me. But you just go in there and you play with it, and I'm going to teach you theory, but nothing beats actually playing with the stuff in reality. All right. So all of that to say, let me bring this back up here now. All that to say, simply figure out the problem first that you're trying to figure out. Figure out the problem that you're trying to solve first. And once you have the problem figured out, everything else is going to be really just second nature to you. Alrighty, so let's hop in here. Alrighty. So today we want to talk about clarity, emotion, and you're like, emotion and audio? Absolutely, emotion and audio. And translation. So clarity, can the listener understand? Number one, when we're editing something, can the listener just physically understand? Is it clear? For example, in the previous classes, I had the mic back here, and they can hear me, and it sounds clear, and they can understand what I'm saying, and yeah, but doesn't it sound so much different when I just put the mic just a little bit closer, right? Sounds a little bit clearer, right? So you have to decide, hey, mic playing, we're going to talk about that. First is actually getting a good recording. This recording sounds dramatically different than this recording, right? You can still hear me, and you can still hear me. I am, I should be just as loud because I have compressors on, but this sound right here sounds so much different than me just raising the mic up and having the sound right there. That sound sounds so much better. And then if I get it even closer to the sound source, which in this case is my voice, guess what? It sounds even better. Wow. So just getting a good recording source. So is it clear? And in the audio video engineering world, you will learn to say these words just like all audio video engineers say: garbage in, garbage out. Doesn't matter if it's live sound. Doesn't matter if it's pre-recorded sound. Doesn't matter if it's recording studio or a concert or a church or a venue. If the sound is garbage going in, there's nothing that engineer can do to make that thing sound clean and clear. They can make it sound less garbage, but they won't make it sound great. If it's garbage in, they can try to make it sound less garbage, less horrible, less terrible. But unless you fix the source, it's never going to sound right. Okay. For example, there's nothing I can do to make this not sound. Now, I am far away from the source, and it should be roughly the same as loud. But since I am so far away, it sounds bad, right? Or it sounds echoey. But the moment I come back into view and back in the focus and back near the microphones, right, it sounds so much better. And they can try to compress me and EQ my voice when I was far away, but it just wouldn't work. Wouldn't work as well. Okay. All righty. So, and then emotion. Does the sound support the feeling? This is a big one because compression does fix a lot, but compression can be negative too, y'all. Compression can be negative. How can compression be negative? Compression can be very negative. As I move my microphone around. All right. Compression can be very, very negative. How can compression be negative? Compression can be negative because, like when I was far away, it brought it up louder because I compressed it and I did a volume raise and all this other stuff, but it still sounded echoing bad. If you compress too, that's a fly in here. If you compress too hard, you begin to lose feeling out of the vocal or out of the drum or out of the whatever emotion is trying to be conveyed in the music. You can literally compress too hard and lose the emotion. It's called dynamics is the technical term. You can begin to lose the dynamics. So let's find a sound. Let's do a piano. We'll just find an acoustic piano, a warm, natural piano, or a natural grand piano, soft grand piano. Okay. Warm, natural. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see me with this, with the top view. All righty. All right. For some reason, we lost sound here. We lost our trigger point. So let me unplug it. I think when I moved the laptop, I made something loose. So I'm going to just plug it back in here. Hopefully it reconnects. If not, we'll just close our Pro Tools and reopen it. Oh, no. We're getting it. It's indicated. So if you look up here, when I press a note, it's indicating that it is receiving the signal. Which is perfect, which means that it's fine that the actual, so Pro Tools is receiving the signal, but the app itself might have crashed. So we're just going to close out the app, come back here to Instrument, bring Expands back up, and boom, there we go. So this little MIDI in signal showed me that, hey, I was still receiving a note. So see, I didn't hear anything, but I was receiving the note. So that lets me know Pro Tools was receiving my notes and that the app itself had crashed. So we just need to close the app out and do that. But anyway, natural grand piano. Let's do something soft. It'll be the easiest to hear the difference with overcompression. So if we have a natural soft string, natural piano and soft strings, or we just do soft grand, and then we'll come here and we'll do strings, but just a soft, maybe legato string. Okay, so we're just going to record this. I don't know what the tempo is, but here, what is this, test 2? So here, there we go. And we want to turn our metronome on so we know, oh, what are we doing here? Okay, our metronome is on. Why can't we hear it? Because we hadn't created one yet. All right, so you can see up here that our metronome is on, but we can't hear it. So let's come to track, create click track. So now I'm gonna turn it off. We'll hit play. We should not hear it. I'm gonna hit record and play. Should not hear it, but then when I turn it on, we should. All right, we'll do C. I think I have a foot pedal around here somewhere. I do. So let me grab my foot pedal from down here. You guys get to look at my shiny bald head as I get my foot pedal from down here and hope that it works. Let's see if it works here. Press a note. All right, I'm doing a lot, so it gave me this error. Let me see if I can bring it up and show it to you. It says, hey, audio processing deadline was not met. So the app is crashing Pro Tools. And sometimes you get plugins plugins are just apps that run inside of an app called Pro Tools, right? So your plugins aren't happy and they'll crash. So we're going to delete this. And I want to make a point about having emotionality in your instruments, in your vocals, in everything you do. So here we go. Okay. So, and I don't know how well you're going to be able to hear this. You absolutely have to have headphones on, guys. Have some really good headphones on so you can hear this. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is just quantize. All right. And we'll just quantize on the 16th here. Did it actually quantize it? I'm not sure. Quantize. Where did it go? Where did my quantizer go? Where my quantizer been? I put it on another screen. That's the thing when you have multiple screens going up. So let me hit apply. You should see these little notes move. Hit apply. Did my notes move at all? Maybe it already did it. Let's do it on a, if I move it on an 8th, it's going to quantize it too hard. But I just want to make sure that it is quantizing. Bad note right there. I can see it. But I did it on purpose. Wanted some dissonance. All right. So I could start adding compression on this track and remove any feeling this thing has. So I can find the frequencies that convey the feeling of that note. And then I could just start trying to increase the feeling and increase the dynamics, right? I can actually come into the sound itself and just try to do it that way first, which is a great place to start and say, hey, I really want to increase the dynamics of this. So maybe I add. Okay. So you start to feel a little bit, right? You should be feeling something when you hear this. If you can feel something, just say, I can feel it. And I can take the metronome off now. And I'm running this live stream, which is eating a bunch of power. And at the same time, running a bunch of screens. And it's overloading the system just because I have the live stream running and the live stream software, and it's not happy. It's not a happy, but that's fine. Okay, I closed some other stuff I had open. Hopefully that gives it a little bit of power to breathe. All right, here we go. So you can see my frequencies there. Decibels. I would normally not use this. It's like a SSL imitation. So I wouldn't normally use this channel strip. But just for the sake of this example, I will. All right, Margaret says she can feel it. You should have this warm, fuzzy feeling. Oh, let me turn that metronome off. And you get all of this beautiful movement. And if I wanted to stack that movement, I could. Like, I'm going to go ahead and just totally cheat. So what I'm going to do to cheat is I'm just going to duplicate this. And the point of this isn't production. The point of this is I want to teach you how to basically kill dynamics, which is what you never want to do, right? You never want to kill dynamics. But I'm going to teach you how to do it on purpose so that you can hear it. And hopefully you can hear it through the, every time I go to duplicate it, it brings up my duplication. I just hit OK. You can hear it through the stream, because a lot of times, not a lot of times, every time you stream something, it gets compressed, which means it's going to be a little bit less. So maybe I'm turning some knobs and you can't hear it. Part of that is the stream. Part of that is just your ears aren't trained to be able to hear the difference. But we're training them right now. So this is my piano strings. Oh, come on, just put everything up here so I don't have to drag it up here. So this is my piano strings combo. And I'm just going to cheat and do a bass. I just copied what I played and I'm going to turn it into a bass. Well, how are you going to turn it into a bass? Because I'm going to just come and steal all of the top notes. I'm going to come and steal all of those top notes. All the notes on the top. I'm just going to take them. All right, so now I just did this, and then I'm gonna come here, and this note right here is a, let's say C, because that's not a C. Yeah, that's not a C, that's an E, it's an F. So I think that's like F1. So I'm gonna just come and Control A, and then I'm gonna just drag this F1. I really like that. All right, so just make it lower. And then I don't have to play the bass. I just kind of cheated and copy that over. And then I'm just select the bass sound that's halfway decent here. And all for the purpose of tell you what to never do. Now you can do this copy technique, but I want to show you. All right, let's see how that sounds. All right, so there's this little speed up part where it goes down, down, down. All right, so I'm gonna remove those two. So just a string alone. And this will be close enough. Once again, my goal isn't to teach you production today. It is to get you to hear dynamics. Even though I hate that sound, I'm gonna roll with it. And you hear it going up and down. So if I go to should be right here in velocity. All right, so hopefully you can see this. You can see these notes that I actually played, but you can also see these little volume knobs here, these little diamonds. If you can see them, say I can see them. You can see the little diamonds here. See the little diamonds here? That is the velocity. So when you hear something going up and down, hear the volume of the bass going up and down, this is the velocity. So what I could do is just try to make all the velocity on all of them the same. So if this velocity is 49, try to get them all close to 49. That means when it plays, they'll all be roughly the same. All right, and you go, why don't you just compress them all and then they'll all be the same? So good thought. The problem is if you get this by compression, actually, this is a perfect time to show you about dynamics. So here, let's just listen to it as is now. See, they're different volumes now, and I can go and just manually increase the volume so they're all similar like I did in the beginning. You can hear kind of like the shakiness of the note, like the vibrato of the note. You can see how some notes are smaller, some notes are louder, right? And say I just said, you know what, I'm just going to come over here and I'm just going to compress the living dickens out of this to make it all the same. Wouldn't that just make the notes even? Well, let's try that. In theory, yeah. But let's try and see what actually it sounds like. We're just going to compress the ever-loving tar out of this bass just for the sake of making the gain the same. And then let's gain it up. So we're compressing the bejesus out of it, and then we're going to just gain it. So now let's listen to it. All the notes should be the same volume, but listen to how compressed it sounds. So tell me, and I want your interaction. Tell me what you heard. I want everyone to list. What did you hear? What did you hear? We leveled out the volume using compression. What does compression do? And we use a 6-to-1, 7 for every 7 decibels in, you're going to get 1 out, right? So, or 7.6-to-1. So roughly every 7 decibels in, you get 1 out. It's compressing the dickens out of it, which makes it the volume lower. And then we just come and use artificial gain to make it louder. So technically, if we wanted all of the notes to be louder, we did it, right? So this is without. So I'm going to bypass the compression effect and just turn it off. So this is without it. The low note. And this is with it. What are you hearing? Could you see that, for one, that certain notes sound like it was smacking real hard? Pang, pang, right? Someone says it sounds deeper. Yeah, compression can make things sound deeper. Someone says, is it more depth? Definitely can make it sound deeper. Less movement, but stronger. Absolutely. Brilliant deduction. Less movement, because that compressor is squeezing it into this little narrow thing, so it's losing movement or dynamics. So you're getting less movement, but it sounds louder. It sounds louder, so it sounds louder, but there's no movement, right? So you're trading off dynamics, and you're trading off movement, and you're trading off fullness for volume. It's also creating this kind of poppy pang, pang, like hitting a wall sound that's not part of the original sound. So if you're trying to change the artist or change the sound, that's good. But if you're not trying to change it, and someone sent you a song to mix or a podcast to mix, they don't want you to change the tonality. They just want you to make it sound louder, normally cleaner. And that's what better is, right? Normally louder, cleaner, and space for vocals and instruments. So what is a better way to do this? So this, you're right, compressor give you depth, it'll make it louder, but it squeezes the movement away. So if you have this really great, and we'll just use song with a lot of movement, where it's like boom, digga ding, boom, ba ding, and you're jamming out, right? Those drums are rocking, and you're rolling. But then somebody comes and compresses it all together. You get all of this movement that brought all of this energy to the song, and then they squeeze it all together, and now it may be louder, but now you have less movement. Dr. Horn says the original seems more natural to me, but I like the compressed sound. So good. All right. So yes, the original is more natural, and that's exactly what you're trading off. You're trading off how natural that sound sounds to how loud you can make it. So now, or how much you want to compress it. This was the volume wars when rock music came out. It was like in the 70s, and whoever had the loudest song was the winner. So that's when compression became a thing. Before, everything was Yellow Submarine and all of this movement, right? And it was just flurry and flowery and very dynamic. And then it became about how loud can we make it? All right, so they start compressing the life out of everything. So you compress the movement, but you get a louder sound, right? And sometimes you want that. The best example of that is with a bass, because it'll sound louder, deeper, and like, okay. But what if it's something like strings and a piano where you want it to sound beautiful and flowery? Let's see about it. All right, let's see. That just sounds pretty, right? All right, my notes were off, but you get the point. Now let's just start compressing the life out of it. Let's go. This fly is landing near me. It has to die. All right, let's compress it. Now we're going to just start compressing the life out of it. So now let's listen to it with the compression on. All right, tell me, what did you hear? So I'll give you one more chance. Without the compressor, I'll turn it. I'll let it be playing halfway with it off, and then I'll turn it on halfway through. Okay, I match the volumes. A lot of times, whichever one's louder will sound better. So you always, when you're mixing, you want to match the volume so you don't think just because it's louder it's better. You actually want it to be better. All right, so here I'll turn it. Actually, I'll leave it on halfway, then I'll turn it off. All right, could y'all hear as I was turning it on and off? What did you hear? Talk to me. What are you hearing? What are you hearing? So yeah, it got louder. So initially, I lowered the volume so to match the volumes, so you wouldn't be biased based on volume. Soft and low without, and with the louder, more dramatic. Sounds harsher with the compressor. Okay. So yeah, all are correct. It got louder because I just gained it. So let's do this. Because I want you to hear the effect, not just the volume. So let's listen to it one more time. Without it, and then with it. So this is off. On. All right. So now, it was off, then on, and now we're going to do on, then off. Off. On. Off. On. So now let's do this. Now we're going to, so you're seeing how it affects individual tracks, right? Let's see how it will affect an entire composition. So we got piano, bass. Let's do some type of drums and bells, just so you can hear. Oh, I had this doubled right. I think these were doubled, so we'll just do trumpets and bells. So here we go. Let's do these as trumpets. Orchestral brass. So I'm just adding some more sounds. Use a glockenspiel. And then someone said about adding reverb, so we'll just add some reverb to that glockenspiel. And you know what? Another thing that we'll do, we'll make all of these stereo so you can really feel the dynamic. So 7 stereo instrument tracks, because these were all recorded in stereo except the exclusion of the bass, which would have been mono. So just gonna move this over. Piano, and then bass, and then we have these trumpets, then we have this glockenspiel with added reverb. Alrighty. So forgot to move down the actual MIDI notes. So we know we got a piano, bass, trumpet, added the extra S on that bass because I already had a bass with 2 S's. Trumpet, glockenspiel, rich glockenspiel. And we'll add some type of movement with some type of drum. You know, I'll put trop drum, some type of tropical drum. And then maybe a timpani. Oh my goodness. Early in my career, guys, me and Mr. Timpani, we were best friends. I didn't care what I was making. I could be making a rap song. It didn't matter. I was putting timpani in there. It was in there. I was in love with timpani. Became like one of my signature things. Okay. So just for movement, we're going to put in just some type of ethnic drums or something just for Yeah, that's funny. I thought about a little taco. This is all just for movement specifically. All right, here we go. Turn the metronome on so we actually know when to start, right? Try that again. Sometimes this one may be on the 32nd. All righty. So I hadn't taught you all this yet, but this timing was a triplet. When I quantized it on the 32nd, it still didn't fit, and I realized it was either swing timing or a triplet. And we may cover that at another time. But when I quantized it on this triplet, or some software say triplet or this tuplet, as we add more things, the dynamics increase. And I'll purposefully try to make the dynamics as wild as possible, specifically for the sake of killing them when we overcompress. So, or when we compress. So I'm gonna see if there's some. And we'll just add in a timpani just to have multiple instruments, and then just for the sake of having movement, you can begin to hear what happens with the compression. We'll just come in here and we'll just find a timpani somewhere. Should be an orchestral. And we're going to cheat again. We're just going to copy this taco sounds to All right. So just adding some instruments, adding some effects, just for the simple fact of adding dynamics and being able to hear all of the dynamics that are within this track. Okay. All right. So if you can kind of hear the movement, even through the stream, go ahead and type in, I can hear it. All right, and now I'm going to do something that you never normally want to do. I'm going to just create the master track, and I'm just start adding compression directly onto the master track, right? So that's the track that all sound comes through. So I'm just add a master. And now that we actually kind of have something to work with a little bit here, I'm just going to go ahead and for one, I'm going to put this master at the end. And now I'm going to start compressing it. So if you can hear the movement now, listen to what happens as I compress. I'm gonna just do I want a harsh compression too, like not even a good one. I'm gonna do a BF76, which will add body and compression. And then I'm gonna add a maximizer. We're gonna ignore the fact that it clipped opening up. Now just listen. Now I'm gonna add this BF76. Turn the metronome off. So that's just a tiny little kiss of compression, even though it does make those, see how it just, it compresses those a lot. So let's bypass it. So you see what it did to the low end. Some compressors affect low end more than one frequency spectrum more than the other. But now let's go into just some crazy harsh compression. All right, here we go. All right, so I'm gonna play it once through without the compression, once through with the compression. And I want you guys to, the minute you hear something, tell me what you hear. So off, on, off, on. So I'm gonna let it be off, and then I'm gonna turn it on. It'll stand by itself. So I'm gonna come here. Then we learned about reading and writing. I'm gonna put a write on this, or a touch. All right. So now it'll do that because I did it. All right. So you heard it off. Let's turn it on. Or matter of fact, let's turn it on halfway through so you can really hear it. So off, and then we'll turn it on. All right, now listen to that with the compression on. All right, off. On. All right, and try to hear past the volume differences. We know that there'll be a volume change. I'm gonna try to level it out so it's not so noticeable, but listen to what it's actually doing to the tones other than volume. Volume is adjustable. That was off. Let's turn it on. All right, off. All right, now let's listen to it on. All right, so what could you guys hear? Should have noticed a big difference just from the intro. Let's turn it off. Listen to the drums. Listen to the bass and the drums. And then let me turn it on. So that compression took that boom and turned it into a boom. So it's starting to change the tone. And a lot of times with heavy compression, you don't want it to change the tone. It would get even worse if we had, or even more so obvious with vocals. But even without vocals, it's changing the tone a lot. So let's hear it again. Without the compression. With the compression. It feels highly compressed. Ooh, versus doom. Now, if we just use a light compression, I'm gonna bypass the heavy compression and turn on the light compression. Now let's listen to it with and without the light compression. Boom, build up. Now let's turn it on. And now it's still here to doom. But it is a little lower, but you don't lose any dynamics. You lose a little dynamics. I think you lose a little dynamics in that mid-range frequency right above those low, right above that drum. It sounds like it's a little lower dynamic, and a little muted. So without it, and see, that doesn't really have that dip. And right after the doom, it doesn't like dip. Now let's listen with it on. And to help with that dip, we could tell the compressor to release faster because it's really holding it. So let's tell it to release really quick. Put it on 1, so it's gonna hold for like 1 millisecond versus 7. Now, if we really wanted it on the drum and not the, I say we wanted it on the timpani, we could just put it on a timpani alone and then just let it be all big and puffy. And now that's a heavy compression, but now it doesn't even sound like a timpani anymore. It just sounds like a big kick drum. Yeah, you can't even tell it's a timpani anymore. It just sounds like a big kick drum. But then when I bypass it, you can hear that it's actually a timpani again. You can hear that, whoa, go, go, go. It sounds like you can hear the brass. You can hear that it's a timpani. But when you put the heavy compression on, it's muting those brighter frequencies, and you just hear go, 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 go. So if you want bigger, yeah, this BF76 would work, right? But if you want more authentic and natural, you like that. You just almost take out the brass, really. So anyway. We did all of that simply, getting back to our slides here, we did all of that simply to be able to tell the difference in the emotion. We're still on slide 1. We just had the sidebar. Does the emotion, do I want them to hear the timpani? Like if I'm scoring the Gladiator, right? I want them to hear the timpani because that sounds like sounds of the Roman age. Romans didn't have like 808s and kick drums, right? So I might want it to hear the boop, 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 boop. I want the brass to sound off. I want that brass sound, and I want that, right? But if I just want something that sounds big, the new Terminator movie or something is coming, he's about to kick in the door. The new Spider-Man. I just want the powered, and yeah, man, all pumped in BF76. Let's do it, right? But if I want it to be the Gladiator, and I want that emotion, I want to hear the brass, and I want to hear the sound of that brass shaking, ding, 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 ding. I want to hear it on it. So listening, and once again, you're going to be able to hear more at your homes than you're going to be able to hear in the live stream because the compression through the streaming service. Anytime you stream, it compresses it, which works for you if you're talking, works against you for quality of audio and video, right? So, yeah. So you play with that a lot. Okay. All right. And does it survive real playback systems? When you play it back, is it loud but lifeless, or do you actually still have movement and life? All right. If you're with me, say I'm with you. If you're with me, say I'm with you. All right, the engineering hierarchy. Do we need a break? How are we doing? All righty. All right, so before we get into that, I think I want to give your ears a quick break. Take your headphones off, shake your head, go use the bathroom, and we will be back in 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So take your headphones off, let your ears relax. They have coffee grounds when you're to cleanse your palate. Go listen to the sound of running water or something to cleanse your ears, your audio palette. And I'll see you in 3 minutes.
Welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence, or GSE. If this is your first time here, I want to say 2 things right away. First, you're in the right place. Second, you're not just joining a class, you're joining a legacy. GSE has been delivering high-quality education for over 20 years, and our story didn't start in a classroom. It started in the real world, where deadlines are real, standards are high, and results are what matter. Our origins began as Nomega Film and Audio, rooted in the audio and video space, working in film production, commercial work, audio engineering, and scoring. We filmed TV commercials and engineered projects tied to major industry workflows, producing, recording, editing, mixing, and delivering professional results. This wasn't theory, it was work where excellence is essential. That's the DNA of GSE. From early on, we weren't just producing, we were teaching. We taught Virginia Commonwealth University students and partnered with the Entertainment Career Connections Institute to teach their Richmond students. Our school originally grew in Richmond, Virginia, focusing on audio and video engineering, training students to not just know about production, but to actually do it. In 2025, we officially transitioned to the Griffin School of Excellence, expanding our programs to fit the future. AI for business, food truck entrepreneurship, coding and development in Python, and continued strength in audio-video engineering. We have a great origin story filled with hard work and proven ability and a rich history, but we're not living in the past. We're building modern skills for today's economy with the same high standards that built the original school. Here's the big difference between GSE and most schools. Many graduates receive degrees and certifications but struggle on day one at their jobs. This costs companies time and money and can cost graduates opportunities. At GSE, we train differently. Our mission is simple. When you finish here, you are day one ready, not just having watched videos or read chapters. You can walk in on day one and actually perform. That's rare, valuable, and what makes your time here worth it. We believe in excellence, and we do not believe in selling paper. You don't come to GSE to buy a certification. You earn skills, confidence, and competence. The goal isn't to look qualified, it's to be qualified. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leveling up for a better job, or seeking to become more efficient and valuable, GSE is built for you. This school is about real-world outcomes. We don't just teach content, we train capability. Now, let's talk about where you are right now. Starting something new is exciting but can feel intimidating. New systems, new expectations, new skills. If you've been disappointed by education before, you might wonder, is this going to be different? Yes. This isn't just information, it's transformation through skill. You're about to build things, learn how systems work, and develop the competence that makes employers take you seriously. And makes you take yourself seriously. You didn't choose a place that's playing games. You chose a place built on excellence, legacy, and the future. So again, welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence. We're honored you're here. Take your time, learn the system, ask questions, do the work, and most importantly, believe again. With the right training, the right standard, and the right support, you're going to look back and realize this was the moment. You stopped hoping for change and started building it. Welcome to GSE, where excellence begins. Welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence, or GSE. If this is your first time here, I want to say two things right away. First, you're in the right place. Second, you're not just joining a class, you're joining a legacy. GSE has been delivering high-quality education for over 20 years, and our story didn't start in a classroom. It started in the real world, where deadlines are real, standards are high, and results are what matter. Our origins began as Nomega Film and Audio, rooted in the audio and video space, working in film production, commercial work, audio engineering, and scoring. We filmed TV commercials and engineered projects tied to major industry workflows, producing, recording, editing, mixing, and delivering professional results. This wasn't theory, it was work where excellence is essential. That's the DNA of GSE. From early on, we weren't just producing, we were teaching. We taught Virginia Commonwealth University students and partnered with the Entertainment Career Connections Institute to teach their Richmond students. Our school originally grew in Richmond, Virginia, focusing on audio and video engineering, training students to not just know about production, but to actually do it. In 2025, we officially transitioned to the Griffin School of Excellence, expanding our programs to fit the future. AI for business, food truck entrepreneurship, coding and development in Python, and continued strength in audio-video engineering. We have a great origin story filled with hard work and proven ability and a rich history, but we're not living in the past. We're building modern skills for today's economy with the same high standards that built the original school. Here's the big difference between GSE and most schools. Many graduates receive degrees and certifications but struggle on day one at their jobs. This costs companies time and money and can cost graduates opportunities. At GSE, we train differently. Our mission is simple. When you finish here, you are day one ready, not just having watched videos or read chapters. You can walk in on day one and actually perform. That's rare, valuable, and what makes your time here worth it. We believe in excellence, and we do not believe in selling paper. You don't come to GSE to buy a certification. You earn skills, confidence, and competence. The goal isn't to look qualified, it's to be qualified. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leveling up for a better job, or seeking to become more efficient and valuable, GSE is built for you. This school is about real-world outcomes. We don't just teach content, we train capability. Now, let's talk about where you are right now. Starting something new is exciting but can feel intimidating. New systems, new expectations, new skills. If you've been disappointed by education before, you might wonder, is this going to be different? Yes. This isn't just information, it's transformation through skill. You're about to build things, learn how systems work, and develop the competence that makes employers take you seriously. And makes you take yourself seriously. You didn't choose a place that's playing games. You chose a place built on excellence, legacy, and the future. So again, welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence. We're honored you're here. Take your time, learn the system, ask questions, do the work, and most importantly, believe again. With the right training, the right standard, and the right support, you're going to look back and realize this was the moment. You stopped hoping for change and started building it. Welcome to GSE, where excellence begins. Welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence, or GSE. If this is your first time here, I want to say two things right away. First, you're in the right place. Second, you're not just joining a class, you're joining a legacy. GSE has been delivering high-quality education for over 20 years, and our story didn't start in a classroom. It started in the real world, where deadlines are real, standards are high, and results are what matter. Our origins began as Nomega Film and Audio, rooted in the audio and video space, working in film production, commercial work, audio engineering, and scoring. We filmed TV commercials and engineered projects.
Okay. We are back. I don't know why that Be Our Guest came into my mind. Be our guest, put our service to the test. I have show tunes and old songs. I don't know. I got music in my spirit this week. Okay. So let's go ahead and hop back into it. Go ahead and drop your name in the chat when you're back. Go ahead and drop your name in the chat when you're back. I don't eat sweets, but I went and my microwave knows these macadamia nut cookies. And I didn't know you could microwave cookies. And don't know where they came from. But I do know this. They are delicious. I mean, remarkably delicious. Okay, I think we have everybody back. Hopefully everybody's back. Okay, so let's look at this little ladder here, this hierarchy. Number one thing is the performance. You heard me say it. I'll say it again. Garbage in, garbage out. Garbage in, garbage out. Type that in the chat. Garbage in, garbage out. Type it in the chat. Garbage in, or garbage out. Type it in the chat. Garbage in, garbage out. Okay. So we want the performance is the thing we're recording with the microphones, right? and with the softwares. So the performance has to be incredible. The drummer needs to be good. The singer needs to be good. The better the singer sings, the less autotune we have to put on them, right? The better the drummer plays, the less audio quantizing we have to do with their drums, and the less audio stretching to put things in place, right? Because the more we use effects and quantization and technology to fix things, the less natural it sounds. So the more we use that stuff to fix things, the less natural it'll sound. Okay? So we'll eventually have AI just fixing all of this stuff automatically in probably 20 years, but right now they still need to actually sing it, play it, and drum it to the best of their abilities. The better their performance, the better it will sound. Recording quality. Recording quality has to be good. Once again, garbage in, garbage out. You have this incredible drummer, but then you have $2 microphones. And now they're sound like, you know, and you're like, what is going on? What is going on? Right? So the performance needs to be good. Next after that, recording needs to be good. You need to have good mics. They don't need to be the most expensive mics in the world. There's been multi-platinum records recorded on SM58, y'all. $100 mic. Platinum world touring records. So the mic doesn't have to be the most expensive thing on earth. It just needs to be a good mic. You also need to have a good cable. My cable that I'm using for, you can't see it, but to run to my recording microphone, this is my podcast mic, but my mic when I actually want to record singers and stuff, the cable is costs as much as some microphones, just the cable. A lot of people don't think about that. It's a Mogami cable. A lot of people know about monster cables. You use a monster cable if you're recording someone that can't sing, because it kind of tunes them. Monster cables are great for that. If you have somebody that can sing, you want to give them breathing room, and I found Mogami cables are better for that. So anyway, a lot of people think, all right, I got a good mic, and I'm going to plug it up into an interface, and they don't think at all about the cable. They don't think at all. They don't give, let me buy the cheapest cable. Let me buy a $1,000 microphone, buy a $1,000 interface, and a $2 cable off Amazon. I'm going to make sure the capture device is incredible and the recording device is incredible. And the thing that connects the recording device to the capture device, cheap as possible. So I'm getting all of these frequencies and all of this finesse in the microphone. And I have all of this capture quality out of my interface and out of my DAW system. But they're connected with a shoestring and a pair of Nikes. Does that make sense to y'all? If that makes sense to you, type it makes sense. If it don't make sense, type in it don't make sense. If that doesn't make sense, type that in the chat. That doesn't make sense. If it does make sense to you, type in, that makes sense. That makes sense. So every part of the chain needs to be good, right? What do they say? You're only as strong as your what? You're only as strong as your what? All right. Margaret says that makes sense. Everybody says that makes sense. So it makes sense to have a $1,000 microphone and a $1,000 capture device and a $2 cable off of Amazon. That makes sense. No, that doesn't make sense, y'all. Pay attention. Stay with me. That doesn't make a lick of sense. You're only as strong as your weakest link. If I'm gonna invest in a good mic, I'm gonna invest in a good interface, I'm gonna invest in a good DAW system, because Pro Tools isn't free, mics aren't free, recording devices and interfaces aren't free. So no, it doesn't make sense. I want to make sure that every part of my chain is good. I want to make sure every part of my chain is good. Okay? So I want to make sure everything is good. Everything is strong. It's kind of like I'm going to buy a $100,000 car, and then I'm going to put on, a $20 brake job and $20 tires. Makes no sense when you wreck that thing or sliding everywhere and you can't control it because you're sliding across the road in the water or ice or tires ball down, you're stressed out, blowing out on the side of the road. No, you want every part of the chain good. How many times have you passed an expensive car and that expensive car is on the side of the road and your inexpensive car is still trucking along? All right. Every part of the chain needs to be good, including the driver. In this case, the driver is the performer, the drummer, the singer, if you're filming, the dancer will be making a movie or working with a film crew. So the performance needs to be good. The recording quality needs to be good, right? The editing needs to be good. The editing needs to be good. So performance needs to be good. Recording quality needs to be good. The editing and arrangement needs to be good. Okay. Gain staging needs to be good, which means the volume. Balancing. If you had your headphones on, you would have noticed when I was editing the song, I put some things to your right ear. I put some things to your left ear, and they begin to sound wider and clearer, right? Not everything was up to center, which means equally in both ears. I EQ'd. I took some of the bass out of some of the high, like I think the multi-timbral, the bell instruments, the glockenspiel. I think I took some high frequencies out of there. Okay. So, and then compression. Compression is great. Over compression is bad. Under compression is bad. But compression itself is good. If I'm going for volume, if I can't manually just level the volume, then I'll add some compression. Like if the performance is, and it's a little bit everywhere. And you guys don't get the effect because I have a compression on this live stream on the audio. So even when I get really low, it sounds really loud to y'all. So you don't really get the effect of what I was doing. But if you were here, you would have noticed that I was getting louder and then I was getting really, really low. And then, so it would have been easy to hear or too loud and then it would have been too low, right? So, if I can't just manually level it out, then yeah, I'll add in some compression to assist in that so that my highs come down and my lows come up, So, so if I'm fixing a volume issue, I use compression. If I'm fixing a dynamics issue, right, they call it glue. Get a good compressor, it'll glue your song together, as they say. So you have stuff, cling, ding, cling, over here and bam, bam, da, 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 over here and over here and over here, and you'll have stuff all in different frequencies and volume levels all over the mix and everywhere. And then you've done your best to volume stuff out, and you've done your best to automate and use that fader and push, warmth and emotionalism through your fader and automations, and you've done everything you can to make that thing come together. And then you're like, man, I just can't get it. It's all right. Go to your good buddy compressor. And because you've already done all of the manual labor to try to pull it all together, and you've EQ'd frequencies, and you've automated, and you've done all of this stuff to try to make it come together, then you're just like, all right, I've done everything I can do. Now let me slap on this compressor to begin to pull things not flat, so there is no movement, but pull things closer together, so that way when I'm listening to it, I can vibe. But also realize when you change one thing, you've changed everything. That's why mixing can take hours and days. I've sat down and get up 6, 8, 10 hours later from one mixing session. Sometimes not even getting up to pee, just getting up to, 6 hours later, 8 hours later, because I'm locked in. Because the moment you change one thing, you got the mix kind of sounding good, and then you brighten up the bing, ding, 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 ding. You just brighten it up a little bit. You go, oh, that sounds really good. Ding, 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 a little triangle. Ding, 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 sounds good. But now that it's clearer and brighter, I need to bring it down in the mix. And then when you bring it down in the mix, the frequencies that it was holding up in that mix, you've brought those frequencies down. So now the mix sounds a little empty in those frequencies. You're like, man, I love the way that ding, 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 ding sound now. But now in those frequencies it was covering, from 10 to 15 kilohertz, it's gone. I feels empty. So now let me raise the strings up to maybe feel that placing. Be like, all right, but now the strings feel too loud. Right? Everything was good until I just brighten up the thing, and now I'm lowering it and I'm raising this, but now I need to cut back some of the body off of this because it sounds too loud, or lower the volume back down, and maybe I need to do some panning or whatever. You change one thing and now everything is slightly off, and now you're kind of back at the drawing board. Okay. So first, make sure the singer, dancer, whatever, get a good performance. Next, make sure if it's audio, you good mic, good cable, good DAW, good interface. Video, good camera, good video quality. Yeah, if you're doing 4K, 6K, 6K, 8K, 8K, whatever you're doing, good quality, good lens, good camera. And then at that point, you get into your editing. Go into your editing, nonlinear editor, into your DAW system or whatever, and make sure you're getting a good, clean edit. Make sure the arrangement. There are some parts where I cut some instruments out because they sound great at certain parts, not so great. They add in certain parts and take away in others. So I want to start taking those out and moving them around, right? Okay. EQ, you saw do EQ, compression, effects. Someone mentioned adding reverb, so we added some reverb. So you don't want to do under effects. You don't want to do too many effects. And then automation. Automation is where your movement and your body is. And then finally mastering. You're mastering that 2-track or mastering now. With all these effects, people are mastering right in the DAW. So crazy world we're living in, right? But make sure you're good master. So the further back the problem is, the harder it is to fix it. The further back the problem is, the harder it is to fix it. If it's a mastering problem, that's the last layer. You just kind of do some tweaking in your mastering process, you're good. If it's an automation problem, all right, now you got to go back and automate something. But remember, you lower one volume on something else pokes out, right, or whatever. But you can just fix that. But then if it's in effects, you got to change the effects. Maybe the effects changes the automation, which changes the mastering. If it's a compression, maybe you change the compression, which changes the effects, change the automation. Maybe it's an EQ, which changes the compression. Maybe it's the balance gain, and the farther back until maybe it's the performance. And now you got to re-record the whole thing, or re-record that background vocal, or re-record that part of the lead vocal. And then you're back at the starting line, at least with that section of the song or that section of the podcast or that section of the movie, right? So the further back it is, the more involved it is to try to clean it up. A bad recording cannot be mastered into a great mix. A bad recording cannot be mastered into a great mix. A bad arrangement cannot be EQ'd into clarity. Not without pretty mega tree, like you dipping out entire frequency, like just totally gutting them and notching them out. Okay. Alrighty. Yes. All of the YouTube videos, as we are moving stuff from Canvas, all of the videos will be in Spaces and modules. And all of the quizzes will now be in Spaces instead of Canvas. So someone asked, will this video now be in all of the videos? Every single one of them will be in Spaces, or in the Expanse website, in your student portal, I should say. Get the verbiage together. In your student portal, all of the videos will be there, and all of the quizzes will be there now as well. Okay. Critical listening map. Critical listening map. I want to go dun, 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 dun. Okay. Critical listening map. Too loud, too quiet, unstable. That's the level. With the bass, we have boom, 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 right? So that was a level. I needed to go in, since it was MIDI, I could change the velocity. If it was just been audio, I would have needed to probably put some type of limiter on it, right? Which is going to take away some of the dynamics. But because it was only MIDI, it was fine. All righty. I think we're good. I think I can make this top-down shot go away now. Goodbye, top-down shot. Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. All right. So level. Is it too loud? If it's too loud, too quiet, or unstable, that's the level. If it's too muddy or too harsh or too nasally or too thin, that's the frequency. So you need to go notch out some frequencies probably of the bad parts to make room for the better frequencies. Better for that particular sound. Dynamic. Peaks jump or sustain disappears. That's your dynamic. Oh, she says not the video, but the notes. Oh, I can put the notes in there too, if y'all like. Absolutely. Too dry, too washed out, too distance. That's space. So if it's too dry, that's, you need to wet it up, which means add effects is wetting. If it's too washed out, like, man, it just washed out. It's not clear. Or it's too distant, sounds too far in the back. Matter of fact, if you add too much reverb, things that sound too far in the background. Right? So that dealing with a space issue. Stereo, if it's too narrow, maybe you need to widen it up, right? If it's leaning too far left, too far right, or you have a weak center, you have too much stuff panned, that's your panning. That's all right. And then if something sounds hollow, thin, or disappearing at the low end, it's called phase. You have two frequencies that are what's called in phase, right? And so then it'll make them really thin. It'll make a kick drum go from doop boop to boop to boop to sound like bop 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 bop. And you go, man, my kick drum should be doop doop boom 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 did doom, and it sounds like kick that. And you're like, what is going on? It's because you have maybe two kick drums or two low frequencies in phase, and they're canceling each other out. So is it a volume thing? Is it a frequency thing? Is it a dynamics thing, space thing, stereo thing, or a phase thing? Or is it swamp thing? None of you probably remember that TV show, but it was a remarkable TV show from 500 years ago about a man who got involved in this nuclear thing, and where Spider-Man got involved with this nuclear thing and became Spider-Man, he got involved with this nuclear thing and became Swamp Man, or they call him Swamp Thing, and he lived in the swamp, and he saved people when he wasn't living in the swamp. Weird show, even just talking about it, but at the time, people loved it. It made sense. So is it a level thing, a space thing, or a swamp thing? All right. So clip gain pre-plugin. So this is, especially in live sound, if you're clipping and your gain, normally you want to have your gain as low as possible because it'll reduce feedback. So you normally want your gain as low as possible to reduce feedback. Okay. So you want your gain as low as possible to reduce feedback. Next, you want to insert things into your chain, your EQ, your compression, and all of that good stuff. That's going to be in your chain. And watch, and we talked about this last time, watch your plugin level. Your plugin output level, watch it. Watch your plugin output level. Okay. Next, fader and post-processing. You want to make sure that your faders aren't too high. I like, and this is weird, but I like mixing at 0. I like trying to get my mix perfect with all my faders on 0 decibel. And it shows that I'm not clipping. If I'm clipping, because I'm clipping in my plugins, but I always try to make sure I'm never clipping, going from plugin to plugin to plugin, because you could be clipping in one plugin and then in the next plugin it dumps into, the volume is reduced, so you don't even know that you're clipping. because it's not indicating anywhere. So you got to be careful with that. But I like trying to mix at 0. And then after that, I'll adjust my faders last. After I've kind of added my plugins and done all of the things, then I'll go in and say, all right, let me kind of come in and do a little bit of little fader and leveling there. And then with your master, just making sure you have enough headroom, because you may not be clipping on a channel, but after you add up 10 channels, it's very well possible that that ought to be clipping. All right, level match processing. Louder is not automatically better. A lot of times you'll add an effect, and if the effect makes it louder, you go, oh, it's better because it's louder. And it's not better at all. It's just louder. That's all it is. It's not better. It's just louder. Okay. So before plug in, then after plug in, you add this 3 decibels louder. So you go, all right, this is louder, so it's better. No, what you need to do is lower the volume till it's not louder. And then ABM when they're at the same volume so that you can tell the difference that the effects is making. You don't want to, if the only thing you can say is it's louder, then you probably don't need to add that effect because it's not helping you. But if you go, oh man, that's deeper, it's richer, it's fuller, then like, okay, we're good. But just louder, no, there's other ways to get volume without adding some effect that's not designed for volume. All right, align, the wave is reinforced. So this is phase. If you just duplicate the same sound, align, the wave is reinforced. If it's misaligned, the waves cancel or comb filter. All right, so certain frequencies are notched out. So if you just take a track, duplicate it, it's going to be, the waves are going to be aligned, it's going to increase in volume. But if the waves are misaligned in some kind of way, like the timing is changed, then you'll start getting weird effects, like hollow, thin, metallic, weak, whole parts disappear, and so on. All right, comb filtering demonstration. 0 milliseconds, 5, 10, 20, 30. Under 30 milliseconds, you can create width, thickness, and phase or phase damage. So you can create width, thickness, or phase damage. The line between wide and broken is monocompatibility. So between wide and broken. So this is one thing that I like to do. There's a plugin in Pro Tools called Time Delay. And you can use it to fix phase. You can use it to widen the frequencies. So let me put these handy dandy headphones back on. So now we're actually playing with the timing of the left and right track. So listen to, put your headphones back on, or earbuds. All right, let's listen again. It's too delayed. Bypass. Listen how different that is. This is phase inversion, so let's listen again. So now we're playing with the timing. Makes it sound softer. And listen when we phase and invert it. Well, listen to how the bass gets deeper. So they're already now, at least on the left track, not perfectly aligned, which is making it sound wider. Now watch when I invert the left. All right. So as we begin to push the timing, you begin to see stuff gets wider, thicker. You can cause phase damage. So play around with it. It's a tool, but make sure it's working for you. All right. Front static mixes, architecture's front, lead vocal dialogue. You normally want your vocal up front. People need to be able to hear what the singer's singing or the podcaster's talking about. Shaquille O'Neal talking. You need to be able to hear what he's talking about. What he's talking about somebody taking a ball to the hole. You know, we need to be able to hear. You want the vocal up front. They got to be able to, even if you have bum, 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 or whatever background, ESPN music or whatever playing. I don't know what music it was. I think it was chips or something. I don't know. But whatever music you have playing or audio, or maybe you mix in crowd clapping, you want the main thing to be the main thing. And if vocals involved, normally the vocal is the main thing. Middle, snare, guitar, keys, and then back is pads, reverb, texture. So here, 2 to 5 kilohertz, you see what's talking about vocal and guitar fighting, or kick and bass fighting at the low end. You can get things fighting with your vocal, and normally you want to keep your vocal and notch out everything else to make room. So if the guitar and your vocal are fighting, you notch out that guitar to make sure that vocal wins. The kick and the bass are fighting. Normally it's because one of them is not in tune. You know, one is D, the other one is D sharp, right? So what happens is that it's D sharp, and you start to get intonation. Doom, 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 doom. So then as the kick and the bass are playing, doom, 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 doom. So instead of getting a doom, 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 you're getting a doom, 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 right? And if you go in and you can put an auto tune on the kick or on the bass, or begin to change their pitch shifting. So you can pitch shift. It's not just for vocals. You can pitch shift anything until you get until you get those bass frequencies. So that's where if I'm running into trouble, it's normally going to be in the kick bass area because they occupy the same space. Another thing you could do is tighten your kick. So if your kick is do 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 and your bass is boom, and you're getting that do do, right? One thing you could do is tighten up your kick. So instead of it going doom, 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 maybe you tighten it and gate it to a point it's just going do, 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 do. Then that way doesn't have that extra little lingering piece to vibrate against the actual bass line. Boom, boom, boom. Then you can get boom, 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 versus boom, 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 and it just sounds like a hot, sloppy mess. Okay. All righty. Enough with my beat boxing here. All righty. So some frequency cheat zones, 20 to 60. That's where you're going to get your rumble and all of that stuff. All of that rumble is going to be 20 to 60. 60 to 120, a lot of your bass and punch, but also, and these are hertz. But another little trick is on your bass line or even on your kick drum, come up here to 5 to 10 kilohertz and 10 to 20 kilohertz and raise those frequencies. It'll clean up that kick. And you're thinking, my kick is doof, doof, or doom, doom, doom. Why would I be way up in the kilohertz? Try it and watch that kick clean up. I learned that a lot of years ago. All right, 120 to 400, low mids. 400 to 2K, your mids. 2 to 5K, your harshness, sometimes harsh, or clarity. Your sibilance, 5 to 10K. And then there's literally a button called air on some Focusrite devices, and they'll add in like this shine or glisten at the high frequencies. I personally don't like it. But here you go. All right. EQ decision tree. If the vocal's unclear, is it too quiet? Fix your balance. Is another track masking it? Cut the competing track. Like I say, notch those frequencies out. Vocal wins. Guitar, when it's time for the guitar solo, you can add those frequencies back in, let that guitar go bananas. But when the vocal's playing, not so much. Is the vocal muddy or dull? Clean up with some EQ. Maybe take out the muddy parts. Compression by intention. Compression is, you got to know what you're doing. Play with it, because you don't want to squash that stuff. If you're trying to do control, normally I want to use my volume lever to do control. If I'm trying to do punch, that's normally an EQ. If I'm trying to do glue, that's probably a compressor. If I'm trying to do energy and movement, I don't want to use a compressor, because compression removes dynamics. It doesn't add them. Now it can change tone, and maybe the tone sounds more energetic. Maybe it was going with that timpani. I don't want it to go dome, boom, dome. I want it to go doom, doom, boom. And so that tonal change can make it feel more energetic, even though in actuality there's less movement. All right, and then of course a limiter, which is a compressor to catch peaks. Okay. I think we got a little bit of time to be able to talk about this. Attack and release are musical timings. So on a compressor, you get attack and you get release. Attack is how fast is looking to compress. So is it just kind of, all right, looking to compress, looking to compress, looking to compress, slow attack, or high attack, looking to compress every millisecond. Let me push some down. Let me push some down. Let me push some down. Let me compress something. Let me compress something. So is the attack slow? Was like, all right, let's compress you, and we're going to compress you, and we're going to compress you. Or is it really fast? You get compressed, you get compressed, you get compressed, you get compressed, and it's just pushing everything down, right? A fast attack. So slow attack, transients survive. Fast attack, transients control, right? So everything gets compressed. And here, release too fast, you can get a pumping sound, and it literally sounds like a pumping sound. And then release too slow, it can hold the sound down too long, so then you lose dynamics, right? Or more dynamics than you need to. So you release too fast, you can get this like do where it's like push it down, pop it up, push it down, pop it up, push it down, pop it up, right? So it literally gets this like pumping sound. And then too slow, you just lose out on dynamics. All right, serial compression. Serial compression is probably the way you want to go 90% of the time. If you're gonna like, if the choice, and let me clarify, if the choice is go really hard on one compressor, or medium on one compressor, then add another compressor to go medium on, that's normally the move. And then a compressor of a different type as well. So if I have a compressor named Amberley, Ambo compression, I'm normally going to, and my choices are I need this compressed a little heavier, but I'm already maxing out the compression levels on ambo, and then I can add a second ambo and then compress a little more, that's okay. But it would be better if I have an ambo and I compress it till it sounds good with that ambo, and then I add a second compression, a Margo, and then I continue to compress it with that Margo. So my little trick is, 2 compressors, different types, or multiple compressors, different types, versus just slamming one compressor super, super hard. All right. So 2 different types, they're going to kind of compress in 2 different ways. So you're not getting the exact same frequency compression, and you're not getting the same algorithm of compression. So you normally just get a better sounding compression, adding multiple compressors, doing a little bit, than one compressor doing, fighting for dear life. And it's just an example. Compressor 1 might catch the peaks 2 to 4, next 1 to 3. All right, vocal chain. So there's been so many vocal chain master classes. And I'm leaning back, y'all. You're like, why is he leaning back? Because the TV is way up here. My screen for this is way, way up here. And the one on my computer is too small to see. Even if I get close, I think it can. All right, if I get really, really close, I can see it. It's like he just laid back, chilling. Type chilling in the chat. Chilling. All right. So vocal chain. There's been so many classes on vocal chains, so many classes on how to do a good vocal chain. The thing with, a lot of times people say, well, what do you set it on? It doesn't work that way. Because I've had, we go to set up a live sound, a live environment, and somebody's like, what do you set it on? What do you set it on? And it's like, there's no settings to any mixers, any engineers mixing for live sound or for studio sound. If I'm in a live sound environment, they're like, man, because people have come to Expanse, come to our church and go, it sounds so good. It sounds so good. It sounds so good. How do you get it to sound like that? And what are your settings? They want to come in and just write down my settings so they can go walk to their church and just put in those settings. I was like, man, that's one of the worst things you can do. You're going to make your sound terrible. Terrible. Because my room is EQ'd for my room. For our space, we have each speaker EQ'd. We have the mic strung out. And we have acoustic panels in the places that need acoustic panels. We have our room tuned to that room. So if you just copy our settings and you have a room that is 50 times larger, or ours is rectangular, yours is square or triangular or some weird shape, your reflections bounce off the walls different, bounce off the floor different. Maybe you have hardwood, well, we have carpet. Maybe your floor is high, your ceiling's higher or lower, whatever, and you just try to copy our settings, it's going to sound hot garbage. You're like, man, it sounded so good over there. Yeah, because it's EQ'd for our space with our equipment, with our microphones, with our speakers, so forth. Your speakers are going to pump out different frequencies. Your room's going to have different reverberation. Your frequencies are going to bounce off of the walls and roof and ceiling and chairs differently. So there is no, what are the settings? Just tell me your settings. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. You got to actually understand what you're doing. You have to be able to pitch up, like I say, the drum, maybe pitch up that drum from doom to doom, and now it doom, doom, doom. It sounds good without wobbling. Maybe you're gaining. You realize, like, I need to lower the gain on these so I don't clip. Subtractive EQ, 90% of my EQ is subtractive, maybe even higher. Subtractive means I'm not necessarily pushing frequencies to make it sound better. I'm removing frequencies that don't sound good. So I'm doing subtractive EQing. Compression to control. Yeah, I'll do compression to control. But if I'm doing compression, it's to change tone normally and to work on dynamics. Tone and saturation, basically for the character of the track. You're only going to do this with effects, not just normal compression, EQ, This is not something you're doing to clean up the sound. Like everything else up to this point has been to correct something. Pitch to correct the pitch. Gain to keep it from clipping. Subtractive EQ to remove bad sound. Compression to glue it together because it maybe sound too loose, or to give it a new tonal. De-esser. De-esser is when you get that sharp S's and T's to fix that. So everything up until this point has been fixed. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 have been all let's fix it and clean it up. And it doesn't matter how good your mic is, your system is, your vocal booth is, whatever. It's you're still going to have to EQ, and you're going to still have to do all of this process. So everything else is to clean it up. When you start getting to step 6, it is to start adding body. You're actually changing the tone to add body and using effects to add body. And then sends, your reverbs, delays, flangers, choruses, all this other stuff. Once again, no longer trying to clean up. Now you're trying to enhance. So tone and saturation is enhancement. Effects for like reverb, all that stuff is enhancement. And then, you're going to automate. After you get everything good to go, you're going to go in and just start automating like I did. Okay. I think we're going to stop there for today. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop your questions in the chat right now. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop your questions in the chat right now. If you've learned a little, type in I learned a little. If you've learned a lot, type in I learned a lot. If you learned a little, type in I learned a little. If you learned a lot, type in, oh my goodness, I learned a lot. So go ahead and type it in. Type it in. And then if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in right now. Make sure that when you're in this class, you got your rig open and all of your stuff together. You don't want to just be listening to me and not following along. If you're not following along as I'm playing with this stuff, you're not going to grasp it really. Watching is great. That's the difference between, we all watch stuff on YouTube, right? And you feel smarter while you're watching it. But then the moment someone comes and questions you, so what's the name of the North Alaskan humpback whale that lives, and you go, I don't know. You watched something on it, but that didn't mean you learned it. You were entertained. You didn't learn. If you want to learn, you need to engage. You need to make sure your homework is done. You need to make sure that your Pro Tools is up and running and that you are connected. So, alrighty. Say I learned a lot. People saying, can they get these slides? So, I will. When I get off of here, I am going to put these slides in Wix. Alrighty. Smart 1483 said I learned a lot. Porsche said I learned a lot. Ambulance said I learned a lot. Margaret says I learned a lot. Alrighty. Okay. Alrighty. So see everybody's comments. If there's no questions, we're going to end out. Somebody want to put a prayer up? All right. So someone asked for access to the digital classroom. Everyone that's in this course has access to the digital classroom. That's where we were. If you're an in-person student, that's where we started off, right? You would go and you go into groups and post to groups. You go in the digital classroom and you'd have all of your lessons and everything in there. So you already have access to it. That's where all of the modules are. Okay. All right. Somebody said it's guidance says completed. Nope, not completed. So I just went in and checked it. So, so you might want to go back and look again. All righty. So yes, I will put these. I'm putting them as we speak into the mixing module. All righty. No one has a prayer. All right, then I will go ahead and say one for you. Lord God, I pray that everyone watching this, their minds were open and learned, their hearts were open, their learners were learning as far as their brain and their cognition to be able to, cognizance to be able to absorb information. Lord God, I pray their futures are bright and that they go on to do incredible and great things. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, God bless you. And I will see you guys next week. Make sure you do what I want today is we went over a lot of mixing stuff. So record your video. It should look like this with your screen and you on it. And you should know how to do this by now for sure. And teach us something that you learned today. Paste that YouTube video into the group chat. All righty. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence, or GSE. If this is your first time here, I want to say two things right away. First, you're in the right place. Second, you're not just joining a class, you're joining a legacy. GSE has been delivering high-quality education for over 20 years, and our story didn't start in a classroom. It started in the real world, where deadlines are real, standards are high, and results are what matter. Our origins began as Nomega Film and Audio, rooted in the audio and video space, working in film production, commercial work, audio engineering, and scoring. We filmed TV commercials and engineered projects tied to major industry workflows, producing, recording, editing, mixing, and delivering professional results. This wasn't theory, it was work where excellence is essential. That's the DNA of GSE. From early on, we weren't just producing, we were teaching. We taught Virginia Commonwealth University students and partnered with the Entertainment Career Connections Institute to teach their Richmond students. Our school originally grew in Richmond, Virginia, focusing on audio and video engineering, training students to not just know about production, but to actually do it. In 2025, we officially transitioned to the Griffin School of Excellence, expanding our programs to fit the future. AI for business, food truck entrepreneurship, coding and development in Python, and continued strength in audio-video engineering. We have a great origin story filled with hard work and proven ability and a rich history, but we're not living in the past. We're building modern skills for today's economy with the same high standards that built the original school. Here's the big difference between GSE and most schools. Many graduates receive degrees and certifications but struggle on day one at their jobs. This costs companies time and money and can cost graduates opportunities. At GSE, we train differently. Our mission is simple. When you finish here, you are day one ready, not just having watched videos or read chapters. You can walk in on day one and actually perform. That's rare, valuable, and what makes your time here worth it. We believe in excellence, and we do not believe in selling paper. You don't come to GSE to buy a certification. You earn skills, confidence, and competence. The goal isn't to look qualified, it's to be qualified. Whether you're an entrepreneur, leveling up for a better job, or seeking to become more efficient and valuable, GSE is built for you. This school is about real-world outcomes. We don't just teach content, we train capability. Now, let's talk about where you are right now. Starting something new is exciting but can feel intimidating. New systems, new expectations, new skills. If you've been disappointed by education before, you might wonder, is this going to be different? Yes. This isn't just information, it's transformation through skill. You're about to build things, learn how systems work, and develop the competence that makes employers take you seriously. And makes you take yourself seriously. You didn't choose a place that's playing games. You chose a place built on excellence, legacy, and the future. So again, welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence. We're honored you're here. Take your time, learn the system, ask questions, do the work, and most importantly, believe again. With the right training, the right standard, and the right support, you're going to look back and realize this was the moment. You stopped hoping for change and started building it. Welcome to GSE, where excellence begins. Welcome to the Griffin School of Excellence, or GSE. If this is your first time here, I want to say two things right away. First, you're in the right place. Second, you're not just joining a class, you're joining a legacy. GSE has been delivering high-quality education for over 20 years, and our story didn't start in a classroom. It started in the real world, where deadlines are real, standards are high, and results are what matter. Our origins began as Nomega Film and Audio, rooted in the audio and video space, working in film production, commercial work, audio engineering, and scoring. We filmed TV commercials and engineered projects tied to major industry workflows, producing, recording, editing, mixing, and delivering professional results. This wasn't theory, it was work where excellence is essential. That's the DNA of GSE. From early on, we weren't just producing, we were teaching. We taught Virginia Commonwealth University students and partnered with the Entertainment Career Connections Institute to teach their Richmond students. Our school originally grew in Richmond, Virginia, focusing on audio and video